Okay, in this lesson, we're going to be working with our proportions. So a percent proportion. So when we represent a word equation using a percent proportion, we have to understand, first of all, the makeup of that proportion. So you are always going to have one of your proportions be your percent proportion. Okay, so you have one that's your percent proportion, and you can either put that as your front proportion or your back. It really doesn't matter. Notice that in here they put the percent proportion in the back, so it doesn't matter as long as you're working with your percent in one set and your non-percent or your actual numbers in the other. So I tend to put the percent in front because that's the first thing I look for. Okay, so now to understand this, first of all, any percentage is always going to be over 100. So please note that you will always have that something over 100. This part right here is never going to change. It's always going to be your percent number if it's given over 100, okay? So then we have our back proportion, which is giving us our actual numbers. So we have to understand the makeup of this. So if you were to take a test, for example, and you were to get, say it was 100 question test and you got, 74 out of 100. Okay, understand that your 74 or your percent that you're given is your part and your 100 is your whole number of questions. So your actual numbers are the same thing. You have your part as your top number and your whole as your bottom number. So how do you know what's what? Well, here's the piece that you have to understand that is going to really help you. In percent problems, the word of is usually followed by the whole. So if we can find where the word of is in our little number sentence, that's going to give us our whole. So a visual reminder that I have is they use the word is to show part and the word of to show the whole number if they're giving us those actual numbers, okay? So let's piece this together maybe by doing some examples. So let's go ahead and try some examples, and I'm gonna reset this up on this next page. So take note, they did the percent in the back, which is okay. You can put that in the back part or you can put it in the front. I tend to put it in the front, okay? So we have our part, and they're using the letter A just because the P, instead of using P for part, the P is representing the percentage, okay? And then your bottom is your whole, okay? And this is our actual equation. So our actual numbers, this is our percent numbers, okay? So the first thing that I always look at, key thing to remember is this, they're gonna use the word is with that number and the word of with our whole, okay? So a part of the whole. So the first thing I always look at is, first of all, are they giving me the percent? Because I know the percent is always going to be over 100. So I have 9.5 is what percent, I don't know, of 25. Okay, so did they give me the percent number? No, they're asking what percent. I don't see a percent sign, so that means this is the part that I do not know. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do my is and of. Remember, is my part. So here's the number with is, 9.5. Of is my whole part. So of 25. Now let's review how we would go through and actually solve this. So you guys have previously worked proportions. And when you did that, you did a cross multiply divide. Let me shift this out of there. I accidentally hit. Okay, so we would cross multiply divide. So we're going to do our 9.5. 9.5 times 100. And then we're going to divide by 25. So pull my calculator back up here. So 9.5 times 100 and then divide that answer by 25 gives me 38. So I just found out that my answer is 38%. Okay, so you're setting up your proportion, which you guys have previously worked proportions. So it's understanding how to pull your parts out. Okay, so remember this is the part. If they give us is, that's the part. This is the whole. If they give us the word of, that's where we're going to put that number, okay? And I'll go ahead and set it up in the same format that they have it in the book. Just realize sometimes I put the percent fraction in front or proportion in front, okay? So you always have your percent and your actual numbers, and these can be flip-flopped, okay? Those can be flip-flopped in terms of which one's in front, which one's in back, but the pieces within cannot. Okay, so let's pull another piece out here. So here we have 15 is what percent? So here's my word is, and my word of, and they don't know the percent. So I have is my 15 over of, which is my 40, and then equals what percent? I don't know, and it's always over 100. Okay, and you wouldn't have to go to this next step if they're asking for the percent, because you guys have learned how to change a fraction into its percent, but we are working the proportion, so we're going to go ahead and set it up that way. Let me pull my calculator back out. So I'm going to multiply 15 times 100, cross multiply, then divide by the third, 40, gives me 37.5. So my answer would be 37.5% because it asked what percent. Okay, let's try another one of those. And I tried to be very visual with you. Obviously, when you get into your own work, you're not going to have it color coded. So you're going to have to remember these specific words. It's always is over of, because of is the whole, is the part. Okay, so what percent? So we have 3 over my word of had 600. And then my back end is my percent fraction, and that's always over 100. So you have to infer this third piece if you're looking for the percent. Okay, so we're going to take 3 times 100 divided by 600. So 3 times 100 is 300, divided by 600 should give me 0.5, and it does. So that would be 0.5%. No, I'm not moving. Sorry, that kind of did a little swirly there. I'm not moving my decimal because when I'm doing this, it's giving me the percent number. There is no move of the decimal, so that is 0.5%. All right, I'm going to put one out here and have you guys try it on your own. Remember, it's is over of. Try this one out. So go ahead, pause your video, set up your proportions, because I will be scoring you off of your proportion setup, and then solve for the missing part. So you should have ended up with 41.6 repeating percent. Good luck. You'll be working on finding some of those is and of parts in the next part of the lesson. Remember, it's always is the part and of is the whole.